We're gonna have Daniel out on the stage, but first, we're gonna bring the man, the myth, the legend, the guy, he's there!
All of your great questions to our next guest. But first, let's set the tone. Let's make the mood. Let's introduce the living fan base, the mercenaries, the Jedi, the X-Wing flyers. Here they are, straight from their fandom place table. Ladies and gentlemen, mercenaries. Yes, look at the love. Look at the craftwork, the handiwork. Here they are, filling up the universe. But you're gonna sit. Is it? It's kind of okay. We'll see. It's unexpected. Yeah. Take your pictures. I'll get them out there soon enough. Because, ladies and gentlemen, young and old, people from afar and just around the corner, give all your love to the one and the only Daniel Logan! And just send them away with a wave of your hands.
I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Welcome to Holland Comic Con. I'm so honored to be here, be a part of this wonderful Comic Con that a wonderful man is putting on and bringing all the celebrities all the way here to the Netherlands so that we can meet you guys and you guys can have a bit of a meet and greet and autographs and everything else with some celebrities that you guys have adored for many, many years.
It's the sharing, it's the community.
Exactly.
It's the love for any imagination that we can put out there.
Of all different storytelling. And it's because of you guys which make the Comic Cons the most amazing experience. Not necessarily the celebrities, but without you guys coming, supporting these Comic Cons, they wouldn't exist and you wouldn't have the possibility of meeting such wonderful and talented people that are going to be here this weekend. Tomorrow we have the wonderful Hayden Christensen coming all the way to the Netherlands to meet you guys. We have Ian McDermott, one of the greats of Star Wars. You have Tim Morrison, who played my father and then stole my job as Boba Fett. And then you have me. So I want to thank you guys on behalf of everybody in Star Wars for coming out and being part of the Comic Con this weekend.
Yeah, you can send them away if you want to. See, oh yeah, cozy time. Tim. Well, actually, you should try. I think that one is not too stable, so you should try this one.
I'm not too stable either. This is my best friend, Tim.
Hello, Tim.
I told him if there's any place you want to travel with me to, it's to the Netherlands. So we came out, we've been having such a wonderful time. We're eating the food, being immersed in the culture, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful time. We went out and we went and saw the windmills in Amsterdam. Yes, went to the fishing villages, got the cheese factories, bought a lot of cheese. And it's just been wonderful. So,
are you allowed to take cheese with you into New Zealand, or do they stop it at the border because of like agrarian?
Well.
Okay, I'm going to jump into the audience. I'm going to ask to make some room here because they are full of questions. They know far too much and they are far too specific in everything they want to know. If you have any question for Daniel, I'll come like running. Sorry. That was a small. No, I was trying a Pee-wee impression, Pee-wee Herman, but it did not work. Oh, sorry. That's something else. Forget it. Questions now. Forget it.
How does it feel to know that there are several Lego minifigures based on you?
I love that question. So I've been a very big fan of Star Wars ever since I was introduced to the world back in the early 2000s. So I started collecting Lego, not realizing how popular and how expensive Lego has started to raise in value. So when they released mine and Tim's Slave One, box with the Slave One back in the early 2000s, it was an honor to be able to have my own Lego figure. 20-something years later, they've now re-released the figure, and I think it's an amazing thing. Just because anything that they produce, especially of my character, is a huge honor. But most people don't realize, but in the Skywalker Saga Lego game, I got to voice the original Boba Fett. So finally I got to be the original Boba Fett in something, and why not be Lego? But it's incredible. It's a really good box set. It displays very beautifully, and it's got my little minifig in it, so you can't go wrong.
Do you have a room at your home which is filled with all the Lego sets and the action figures?
I have over 100 to 150,000 Star Wars toys and collectibles.
What?
Yeah, I'm one of the biggest collectors that there are out there. Most people don't really realize. I didn't realize it was that cool of a thing until I started telling people. I created a group on Facebook called Bounty Boxes, and I started letting go a lot of my toys and my collectibles. So I've sold over 250 box sets from early 2000s to present. All the different ships and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah, but he has a huge mansion that he lives in. And there's little room for him, and there's all this merchandise inside.
I live in a one-bedroom apartment, and the whole apartment's full of toys, and then there's a little space where I crawl into at night, like the Starlight Pit, and that's where I call home.
Any questions?
Right over here.
Okay. Oh, here. Oh, there. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
I have a question. What's your favorite music piece of Star Wars?
Well, I think that the Duel of the Fates is an incredible piece that it really wouldn't go any better without Darth Maul bringing that to life. When you see that scene with that score added to it, it really just makes that scene just that much more impactful. And then you've got a character like Darth Maul that brings it to life. When you hear that piece, you can't but visualize that amazing duel between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. So I think that's probably one of my favorites. But then, it's the infamous that I think everybody loves. But on a personal level, I think that would have to be my favorite.
Yeah, well, I recently watched most of the Star Wars movies with my daughter for the first time. She's 12 years old now. And only then did I realize that most of the movie started with silence, and then suddenly it's just BAM! And it drops in like nobody's business. I never noticed that it was so sudden at every beginning.
Well, most people don't realize, but George Lucas really changed filmmaking, not only visually in an amazing way, but he changed it incredibly by the soundtracks that he produced that went along with the movies, but also the way that the scroll would scroll in the beginning of the movie to tell you the story. But then at the end of the movie, it would be all the credits. Where before him, the credits would roll before the movie, and then you would watch the movie and it would be the end of it. It would just be like the end. But then he reversed it all around and made the credits come at the end of the movie, which now today we're very used to. It kind of makes sense that you would watch a movie and then you would see and sit around and watch all the people that came together to make it work.
You can sit in a movie theater and then see all the people walking out and going like, they didn't really like this movie. They don't stay until the end.
I know it's kind of like a brother, sister, or cousin of us now in the Marvel world, but I love how they always put something in on the trailer that you're like, did you see that part? And they're like, no, I walked out. You're like, you had to wait through the credits to see that one last little scene.
the hidden features they hide behind the credit roll. Let's see here. Hello.
Is there a behind-the-scenes moment for filming that only you remember, that fans would love to hear about?
That's a great question.
Yes, spill the tea.
Well, it seems that Hayden Christensen is going to be here. I think there's a really great story that I can tell about Hayden Christensen. So I grew up in a family of 6. My mom was raising us all by herself. And PlayStation 1 had just come out. Some of you younger kids don't realize that there was a PlayStation 1 a very long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And my family finally afforded to be able to buy one PlayStation that we shared amongst the whole family. And Hayden Christensen, he came up to me on one of the scenes that we did together. I think it was Geonosis when they were tied to the pillars. And he said, hey kid, you know, you've done a really good job. Hey, come to my room after the scene. I've got a gift for you. And I grew up in a generation where you didn't know if a grown-up was inviting you back to their room, you know, and it was okay. And I kind of looked at my mom like, is this that, you know, stranger danger kind of situation, or are we all good to go? So she sent me along and I went over to Hayden's room and he had a PlayStation 1 and he asked me, do you have a PlayStation 1? And I didn't lie, but I didn't tell the truth. My family had a PlayStation 1, but personally, I didn't have a PlayStation 1. So he gave me this PlayStation with about 15 games. And he said, hey, I just got a Dreamcast. Would you want to play it? And Dreamcast had just come out at the time. So I knew at the time that America and Australia had different voltages. And although that you could change the plug, you needed an adapter to change the power that went into the machine. And so I tried one and he said, no, it's okay. He puts the game into the Dreamcast, he turns it on, and the thing goes and starts smoking. Well, the sprinklers were so sensitive and all about changing rooms that the sprinklers started coming on and spraying all over the room. So at this point in time, after getting drenched, I grabbed my PlayStation, didn't give him a chance to say, hey, I need that now, and I took off. Well, that day, he lost the PlayStation 15 games, but I found out that the studio, or he was charged $250 because the fire department had to come out and check on the room and stuff like that. So I remember that day very well. I have another fun story about Tamara Morrison actually. I didn't know that he got his head chopped off until I watched the movie myself. Because how do you tell a little 13-year-old kid, oh, you know, you're going to be digging down and rubbing this helmet and your dad's head has been chopped out of it, you know, you're going to put it to your head and that's going to be the scene. So George Lucas directed me. Basically, he told me exactly how to do it, showed me what to do, I did exactly what he did, and that's how that scene was filmed. So when I watched the movie, I saw Jango Fett get his head chopped off. I was the only person in the movie theater to cheer. And then they asked me, why did you cheer? And I said, because now I'm the baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. So I was meant to be in episode 3. They held me for a whole year because they were going back and forth on how they wanted to do the scenes or if they wanted to put those scenes in. So I was actually meant to kill Samuel Jackson. But the story I was told was he didn't want to be killed by no punk kid. I happened just to be that little punk kid. So they said, well, maybe we're not going to go with that storyline.
Samuel said that.
That's what he said. He could have said other words like
Sure.
Pulp Fiction, I think it was, but it's PG. So the scene was meant to be that Boba Fett was meant to be in an arena with Mace Windu again. He had already seen what happened to his father. Mace Windu was meant to do the same similar type of thing that he did to Jango Fett and come at him with the lightsaber sword. And then this time, Boba Fett jumps on his back. He flies along the ground with his jetpacks. And as I'm flying along the ground with my jetpacks, I pull out Jango Fett's 2 blasters from my side and I shoot him straight through the stomach. You can go look online actually. They have the storyboards online if you don't believe me.
We believe you.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
We don't need proof. Everything you say is true.
Well, that's another funny story. Because I've been telling the story about the fart face that Ewan McGregor told me to do for many years.
Yeah.
And I realized at this point in time, I can tell you anything, and you have no choice but to believe my stories. Well, what happened was, then Ewan McGregor started coming out to the conventions. We were on a panel together, and he kind of looks out like this, looks over at me, and goes, the fart kid. And then I'm like, I was confused, and then I was like, oh yes, now I know what he's talking about. So he asked me, do you want to tell the story, or should I tell it? I'm like, no, go ahead and tell the story. And he was like, well, you know, Daniel really sucked as a child actor, and he didn't really know how to act very well, so I had to give him guidance, basically, and I told him, you know, when I opened the door, and he says, oh, there's your father here, may we see him? And I do that. That was because he told me to look at him like he just did a very smelly fart, and it worked out perfectly.
Sometimes that's all you need to make great art.
Hey, we all know what a good fart smells like.
Yeah.
Look at her face.
He does it, he does it.
Her face just did it. She did it. Exactly.
Question there.
Hi, would you be open to do anything with Star Wars in the future?
Oh yeah, I mean Star Wars is a big part of my life. You know, I think that there's a bit of the timeline that's really missing, and it's from the Clone Wars up until Empire Strikes Back to where we see Boba Fett in armor, and the fact that this one character is able to sit there and Darth Vader himself gives a direct line like, "No disintegrations." You know what I mean? It's like, as you wish. What is between that lines that these two paths? Something has obviously happened to where Darth Vader's kind of being like, no more disintegration. Like, did he send Boba Fett out to do a bounty and he just disintegrated everybody to where he's like, get the job done, but no disintegration. You know, and then that Boba Fett can kind of be almost like a little laugh back at it, like, as you wish. You know what I mean? But there's so much of that storytelling that I think we could really do as long as they do it soon enough that I don't age out and become bald like my father over there. I lose this beautiful hairline.
Yeah, or perhaps it was just a crazy evening at a pancake house between Darth Vader, and something happened there, and they had an order, and it didn't come in, and then somebody got disintegrated. Or perhaps there was a pet involved. Did Darth Vader ever have a pet? I don't know.
Boba Fett might have been his pet.
Might have been. And then you rebelled and disintegrated something.
And as you wish.
As you wish. That's how it goes. We'll figure it out soon enough. Here we go.
Hi, Daniel. Cheers, hello, and hello also from, I don't know if there's someone here from Curacao, maybe, from the Caribbean, but hello.
Did you say Coruscant?
Curacao, not Curacao.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I have two questions for you. One is a very nerdy one, but because you kind of talked about it already, what is your favorite sound effect from Star Wars? You know, there's the lightsaber, there's the ship, like the bomb thing. Go for it. Any one of your favorites.
You know, honestly, I'm a bit biased, but that sound of the Slave One when Obi-Wan is chasing us, and you get that sucking in sound, it's like that is so unique, and I really love that sound effect.
It's a cool song.
Beautiful sounds.
Yeah. Oh, and the other one is, what did it feel like to get a call to come back for Clone Wars when you eventually had to do the voice acting again for Boba?
You know, I was very honored to be able to come back and reprise my role as Boba Fett 8 years after I was originally in Star Wars. And I would see Dave Filoni at every single convention, and I would try to buy his lunch. I would try to buy his dinner. You know, if he wanted a soda or anything, I'd run in line and try to put my credit card on and try to hope that it actually accepts my charge. So then when they called me back, I said, I didn't realize that trying to buy you all those dinners and those lunches and everything would actually paid off and got me a job. And he looked at me kind of like puzzled, and he's like, what are you talking about? I go, well, that's good. That's why you gave me the job, right? And he's like, no, George Lucas actually called you by name. He said, I want Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, call Daniel Logan. That's like God calling you to heaven twice. You know what I mean? Like I was a fallen angel when I was back on Earth, and then all of a sudden he's like, no. But it was incredible. I was a little bit more nervous doing the voice work because when I did Boba Fett, I didn't really know the impact that Star Wars had on the world. But 8 years later, I had gone to conventions, I learned the histories, I learned the passion behind Boba Fett. And so I realized that I had huge boots to fill, even though they were originally my boots. And so that's why I think we saw a little bit different dynamic of the growth of Boba Fett at that time, because I knew I couldn't let down the fans. And that's why I loved being a part of it. I love the stories. We actually had a whole season, season 7, where Boba Fett started killing him. I went against Anakin. You got to see some of the roughs of Anakin and I. His chasing with me, how Boba Fett got his armor. There were some really incredible stories that it was terrible that they didn't get released. Great question.
Maybe if we all start sending emails to the head office, what's with the 7th season? Make it true. Give it to Daniel, he knows exactly what is needed.
100%.
Yes.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Handwritten letters.
Fax. Send him a fax. I think that's what Tim said the last time he was on the stage. Send him a fax. I was like, Tim, where have you been? I sound like Pip. They don't fax anymore.
No, the sticker tape where somebody has to decodify all the little holes in the long paper. That's even before it's something.
I think we're going to leave that one to you.
Yes, I will. Questions for Daniel. This is your moment. This is your, there. Oh, and there, okay. Good. Excellent, super. Who's going to do it? You both in duet? He's going to do it. You.
Speaking is very good. Sorry, because this is Christian. Of this, wants to know what your favorite or co-trooper is.
Favorite color clone trooper?
Well, I like them all. I like Cody, I like Rex. I think Rex's blue is so awesome. There he is right there, and I didn't even see it. I wasn't even like it. I think it's incredible that a character like Boba Fett was able to bring so many other characters to life, like the Clone Troopers, Jango Fett. We now have the Mandalorian, thanks to one character that really was picked up by the fans and really loved and adored, that George Lucas ended up creating a whole entire backstory which came to life through Jango Fett and now the Clone Troopers and stuff like that. When you ask if there's an opportunity for me to come back, now there's so many clones, even not even as Boba Fett or Jango Fett, there's so many clones out there that you never know. There's many possibilities.
There might a clone be hiding just behind the corner. You never know. Final question here.
Yes, I want to ask, what is your favorite weapon from Boba Fett?
My favorite rapper?
Weapon.
Rapper? Probably the Corvette song. You guys know it?
Sing it.
Sing it?
I don't know.
Let me pull out my karaoke. This is how you brought up the time clock. Hey, hang on 1 second. It might have an ad because I'm cheap and I haven't paid for it yet.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, come get my autograph so I can afford not to have ads.
I need an ad-free life.
The girl sitting with me, Lucy, she's like, wait, you have Pandora, you still have ads? I'm like, do you know these subscriptions I have? And she's like, well, I'm Spotify Premium. I'm like, well, maybe I should marry you then. You guys ready?
Yes.
This is by my good friend, MC Chris. Oh, wrong song.
Who knows this song by just 2 people? After today, everybody will know it. MC Chris and that's that, like a Corvette. That's that, like a Corvette.
Okay, that's enough. You guys didn't come back for my music. You came in for the great DJ's music. But my favorite weapon, did you say?
Weapon. There he is. There.
You said my favorite weapon? There's so many weapons that Boba Fett has, and I think that's what attracts him to so many different people, is because he's not like this military type of person that has so many different weapon options that you don't want to mess with this guy. I mean, from his missiles on his knees, to his jetpack, to his EE-3 blaster, there's just so many different, things that Boba Fett has that he has in his, I forget the word. You guys, you know who's coming to listen to my Q&A? It's Tim Morrison, my father from Star Wars, and also me from Star Wars.
What?
Hey, you shouldn't treat your children that way. You should be supporting me, Dad. He came to listen to my Q&A. How do you guys like that? The best dad in the galaxy, guys. I know how you are. Let's give a round of applause to Tim Morrison.
Come on stage.
Guys, on a serious note though, before I leave, if you guys haven't had a chance to go and meet this man, I want to truly tell you, he's one of the greatest people to meet. He's one of the greatest actors from Star Wars, but ultimately, if you go and meet him, I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed. So, come on out, come and see us. We'd love to see you all. Thank you so much for listening to my stories. Please surround my father wherever you go.
Daniel Logan, and if you have any more questions, you can find it. There's a big banner with your face going like,
There it is.
yeah.
Love you all. May the force be with you. We will see you next year for Holland Comic Con 2026, okay? Take care.
Daniel Logan!